unto me. Starlight and dewdrops are awaiting thee. Sounds of the rude world heard in the day, led by the moonlight, have all passed away. Beautiful dream, my queen of my song, list while I woo thee with soft melody. Gone are the cares of life's busy throng. Beautiful dreamer, awake unto me. Beautiful dreamer, awake unto me.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Evermore Paranormal Show. My name is Jim Sorrell. Your host of the show is Suzanne Sorrell, and her sidekick is Kirkpatrick. We hope you enjoy the show.
Good evening, sweet spirits. Welcome to the show. Tonight, this is a variety talk show, and we are going to have some musical guests here and there. Our guest next week was supposed to be Gina DeLuca, but she had to cancel. So we have arranged a pretty exciting mid-season finale. It'll be our 6th episode next week, and we are going to be talking about Ouija boards, and we're going to have a live seance, so definitely tune in. This show, the Evermore Paranormal Show, obviously focuses on the paranormal and ghosts. Like I said, tonight is our 5th episode, 5 of 6. I can't believe it's just flown by. We started out as a 30-minute show, then it was 45 minutes, and now it's an hour. So we just have a lot to say, a lot to talk about. So we've been talking about this studio being haunted, and basically they have not really cooperated on camera, but wow, have they started acting up off camera after the show on other nights. We're going to tell you all about that next week. And then we're going to try to call up those spirits and find out more about them using the Ouija board. So in addition to the things that have been happening to the owners here, we've also experienced stuff. And the Manassas National Battlefield Park is right down the street. So we're hoping to call up some of the spirits there too. So far, like I said, they're not cooperating on camera. We did get a tap in the corner one night, but I don't really count that as being too exciting. And so, I'm Suzanne Sorrell. I'm the owner of Evermore Paranormal, and I'm your host, obviously. My husband is the announcer. He's also the ghost bro that's sitting over there waiting on something exciting to happen. And I know something's going to happen next week for sure, especially when we're playing around with the Ouija board. Also, I have my sidekick, Cat, Kirkpatrick over there. Got it right. And we've been friends for 13 years, and we do everything together. Jim and Kat and I were down and doing flea marketing this morning, so we've been together all day long. I'll warn you, we're in a giddy mood today. We are all laughing all day long. We've been laughing before the camera started, so I think we're going to be probably really cracking up later. So I just want to shout out to the people behind the camera. First of all, we are at Stairway East Rehearsal Studio. If you need a studio for rehearsals, for videos, for audio, all that stuff, you need to contact them. They're in Manassas. Now, I want to shout out to Miss Lucille that we missed last week. She's here tonight. Thank goodness. We can't live without you, Lucille. And Jazz is there behind the camera. And then in the control rooms, we have Mike and Pat. So tonight, we're going to get started with our interview tonight. And our main guest tonight is Wendy Shugel. Did I say that right, Wendy?
Yes, you did.
She is the owner of, we'll say haunted, because I guess you take that proudly, right? Some people don't want things to be haunted. They're like, I don't want people to think my property's haunted.
Yeah.
But we've been there a few times, and she's the owner of Haunted Dream Meadows. It's Dream Meadows, but we put haunted in front of it. And you'll find out tonight why. Also, this beautiful girl next to me. I've known her since she was a kid. I'm not going to say how. She used to play with my son, okay? Sylvia Vukovic. Did I say that right?
Almost.
Oh, what? How do you say it? It's Hungarian, so let's hear it the right way.
Vukovic.
Vukovic?
Vukovic.
I've been saying it wrong all these
Yep.
years. Sylvia, I do spell it right, though.
Yep.
That's a chore right there, spelling it right. Sylvia Vukovic. Vukovic. Okay. Oh, Sylvia. That's what I'm going to say. And my buddy over here, Kat, on the end, she's going to be throwing in some questions. Sylvia's been we've investigated Dream Meadows on 2 occasions, last Halloween and about 2 years ago from now.
Yeah.
And Sylvia's been with us on the investigation. She's going to we had some really major things happen when Sylvia was there. So she's going to throw in some input there. But I want to start talking with Wendy first and just get started interviewing you, Wendy.
No problem. No
And
problem.
we're really excited that you came.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Now, I was thinking back, when did we meet? And
oh, gosh.
you know when we met? Big Flea.
Yes.
The Big Flea. Because I was
Yeah.
thinking how I've known you for quite a while, and I
Yeah.
don't know how we
It's probably
met.
been 15 years.
Probably.
Wow.
Kat and I are antiques and collectibles dealers, and Wendy is a collector of many things, but I
Well,
sold
not
some
anymore.
stuff to you. Not
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah.
She got that property to maintain. That's what
Right.
you're about.
It's
So
all
you
done.
bought some stuff from me, and you like Mickey Mouse stuff. I know I've sold
Yeah,
that stuff
yeah.
to you. So that's how we met. She
Mhm.
was coming by and stopped and bought some stuff. We started talking. Next thing you know, she's purchased a property. Not just any property. Wait till you hear about. What year did you purchase that, Wendy?
Purchased it in 2013.
2000.
It dropped
okay.
into my lap. It was a foreclosure. It was the fulfillment of a childhood dream. And I had always wanted a farm. I figured I'd end up with 5 acres, a small house, and a small barn, and I would have been very happy. And my friend, who is also my real estate agent, came to a therapeutic riding program that we had just around Christmas that year, in 2012, and said, I saw this property yesterday, and it's made for you. And there are 3 houses on the property. You'll have income. You can live in the main house, rent out the other 2 houses, and it's got a barn and fencing, but fencing needs work. I said, how many acres? And she says, 28. And I'm going,
That's scary.
Exactly.
A
And
lot.
she goes, oh, when you have horses on it, it won't seem like anything at all. And I went, okay. So a couple of weeks went by, and our schedules didn't jive to be able to go out and see it. And finally, mid-January, I got a chance for us to get together and go out and see the property. Knew nothing about it at that point. We drove up the driveway, and we turned onto the driveway, and we hadn't even gone a portion of the long driveway. And I said, I'm home. She said, how do you know? And I said, you haven't even seen it yet. And I said, well, you said it's perfect for me to begin with. I said, but more than that, I just know I'm home. I'll go look at the buildings. I'll go walk around the property, but I'm ready to make an offer right now. So we walked around the property. It was pouring rain. It was freezing cold. It was like January 15th or 16th, and I took a few pictures. The grass was all waist high and higher. The animals had taken over, the wild animals had taken over the property pretty much. So the groundhogs were so, how do you say it, had so many guts that they'd come as we drove up the driveway. They're coming out onto the driveway and sitting up on their haunches and daring us to go past them.
Mm-hmm.
And
Maybe they were welcoming you, like,
exactly,
"Yay,
and
hooray,
I don't
she's
think they were
here."
welcoming
'Cause
us.
I know you love animals.
Yeah, but not groundhogs. And
They're trouble on a farm,
exactly,
right?
yeah, they are. So, but anyway, so we walked around the property for a couple hours, and I said, so the next step is, where do we write this contract? So she said, let's go somewhere where get warm, get something to eat, and we'll write the contract. So we did, and submitted the contract that afternoon, and had made it the first contract contingent on passing all inspections.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the bank kicked that back right away and said, you have to take it as is. Take a chance. She said, do you want to take a chance? I said, I have a good feeling about this. I said, I don't. I said, we're going to run into problems, but I don't think the problems are going to be that severe. Yes, I want to take a chance. So we rewrote the contract. At that point, the property was at the lowest it had ever been.
Mhm.
So and it had been on the books for quite a while. So I figured the bank wanted to get rid of it quickly. So I said I was going to make a low bid, and I did, and they laughed at it and kicked it back. So I submitted another contract and upped my offer, and then she calls me back and says, "Now there are multiple bidders. Can you raise your bid at all?"
I remember that.
And I said, "I can only go to this next level
Hmm.
and no higher." So the next day, I get this message on my voice machine at home, the townhouse, and says, "Congratulations, they took our contract." And I'm going, "Oh God, what did I do?"
What did you just get yourself into? Well, Wendy, that was my next question about the property. It's 28 acres, and you have a main house, a pool house,
Yeah.
carriage house,
Yeah.
barn,
Yeah.
pond.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of running
Yeah,
through it because
yeah.
we're going to talk.
Yeah.
There's paranormal activity at all these places.
Yeah.
And we're going to show the pictures later as we talk about them. And you have a pond, you have cleared land, and you have woods.
Yes.
And so we have some stories from all these places.
Yep.
I just wanted to ask you quickly, and probably, how did you come up with the name? What is the name of the property again?
The property was prior to this was Liberty Meadows, and I changed it to Dream Meadows because it was my childhood dream.
Yeah, I'm so happy for you, Winnie. I get chills. You see her glowing. I swear, it's just yes. It's a lot of work because you got a lot of property, a lot of houses, and all that. But you've got some people there helping you now. Can you give us a little, not too much, but a little history on, like, do you know who owned the property? How does the history run
I haven't
there?
had a chance to go back to the deeds office yet in Warrenton to research previous owners. I know some of the previous owners from some of the neighbors in the area that have been there a long time as to who lived there. But the property does go back to a Native American settlement. There was a slaughter. I've been told many times that my property is littered with bodies. Native Americans, Confederate and Union soldiers, slaves. It was White Oaks Plantation at one time. I think that whole area of Liberty Road was probably White Oak Plantation. My house has a stone wall around it, and that stone wall was completed in 1831 by Hannibal Halestock, who was a African he was a slave stonemason connected to George Washington. I found out the Halestock family is connected to George Washington.
Great.
They were each given a parcel.
Maybe you can
of
get
land.
it a historical designation. Try it if that would be great.
Cool.
Really help.
The Halestock family had previously been with George Washington. George Washington owned property all the way from Mount Vernon all the way down Route 1 to Fredericksburg, and I think slightly beyond that as well. And he gave a parcel of land to each one of the Halestock brothers, based on the size of their family and what they had done with them. They were all skilled masons. They were all skilled laborers of some sort. I found out later. Hannibal was very well known in the Warrenton area, Warrenton, Remington, Opal, and anywhere that he did anything, he left just like he has left the cornerstone at my house. He carved his name into a piece of slate or whatever and left it there and the year that he completed the project.
So my next question, what you kind of covered, is there are deaths, there were battles.
Yeah.
And do you know? But and there's probably bodies, possibly buried on the property. You don't know.
I've been told by a couple of psychics and that who didn't know each other, didn't know me, said my property is littered with bodies.
No wonder if there's all the activity.
Yeah.
So we're gonna now. I really want to know, and I know the stories, but I got to ask for everybody so everybody else knows the stories. What was your first inclination that something paranormal was going on your property?
I had told my friend, who is my contractor also, I said, I just have a feeling. I said, there's been an awful lot of history on this property. I said, just from the stone wall alone. And I said, I know there were several war skirmishes through this area There's all kinds of historical markers on 17 and 29 and all those other places. And I said, so I know there had to have been battles in this area, if not on this property, around this property. And I said, if there's anything here, when we start renovating, we're going to start seeing activity. And that's exactly what happened.
I remember when you came in with the pictures
Yeah.
showing me, and I think the dog, I think Woody kind of also noticed things. Your dog?
Yeah, yeah.
Kind of called attention. It wouldn't go, it was afraid to go in. You didn't want Woody there or something.
I didn't bring him for a long time, and then that summer I went to closing in February of 2013, and was moving things in and left him in Centerville, and at the townhouse, and I hadn't brought him. I had nowhere to confine him. There was no fenced-in backyard yet, so I had nowhere to confine him. So. And I didn't want him to have to stay in the house the entire time that I would be there. Sometimes it was 6-8 hours and such. And I couldn't walk him at that time. So he was just too much to walk. And so I didn't bring him out until August. And the day that I brought him out, I took pictures because I wanted a pictorial historical rendition, so that when I did my scrapbook that I would have his first day at the farm, kind of thing. And when I looked at the pictures later on, he had orbs following him everywhere. He went through the rec room. I have one picture in particular. He went through the rec room, and he's got like 8 orbs following him. Some above him, some behind him. And then I didn't think that he knew they were there at that point. It wasn't until his second visit, we were up in the kitchen, and I think they presented themselves to him and scared him. And he had an accident up in the dining room.
Which was unusual.
Yeah,
for him,
which he never does. So, and it was just from his body language, I could tell that something had spooked him. So I had a talk with him after that and said, when he wasn't there, I said, please, he's going to be living here too. He's a good dog. Please, don't show yourselves to them. Don't harass him. Leave him alone. But I think now that, he'll start barking. He'll lay on the top step when I'm upstairs, and he'll start barking at something. And I'm sure it's something paranormal that he's seeing in the stairway.
Well, let's, like I said, the girls are here tonight, and they've been to your house. Well, Sylvia's been there twice. Kat's been there once. Jim and I have been there twice. So we're going to start talking about the different areas and what happens in the different places. Yeah. And then we're just going to go quickly through some of them. And I want to focus on the main house, I think. Yeah. I've heard the story, so I kind of know, but there's stuff everywhere. I don't want to run out of time, though, to tell all those stories of the main house. We're going to start with, just to get it out of the way, because I'm going to shoot over to Jim. And Jim, can you tell about the picture that you caught in the woods? We're going to start with that and just get that out of the way.
No problem.
Sure. Wendy was kind enough to let me hunt on her property. So the second season I hunted, I bought some trail cameras and put a couple of them out so that I could track the deer activity. I put them out 2 months before the season, and when the season started, I pulled the cards just to see what I could find out. And looked through them, and I had this one that looked kind of odd. It had a kind of a mist in it, and it hadn't rained that night or foggy that night or anything, so I thought it was unusual. So I told Suzanne, take a look at this, and she goes, that might be paranormal. I said, yeah, I guess it could be, because it was a pretty normal night that night, and shouldn't have been any mist or anything floating around. So she was excited and looked through the rest of the pictures, but that was the only thing we really caught.
Could you see the date and time? I don't remember.
It was
said
October.
The time.
Yeah,
it's October.
And I think it was like nobody should be out in the middle of your woods at night. And then Jim, so you finally get it to Wendy. I sent it. You had it for a while.
Yes, I took a picture to Wendy, and she recognized it as the judge, which I'm not sure who he is.
That's what I wanted
to tell you.
Thanks, Jim. I'm glad. You know what? It's like he put the cameras out there to track the deer. Yeah. And then he comes home, and I said, well, can I look at the pictures? Maybe there's something out there. Wendy's has a lot of stuff going on her property. And lo and behold, there's that picture that he just showed. Wendy, who's the judge?
Well, he showed me the picture, and he says, we can't figure out what this is. I said, I know what it is, and I know who it is. I said, that's the judge. And the judge we had heard from during the first investigation on the obelisk. We were downstairs in the dark, and all of a sudden the furnace went wild.
All that story. Okay.
And we got and also we'd heard the front door open and footsteps upstairs come down the hallway and start to come down the stairway. At that point, the only way for us to get out. Oh, and somebody had blocked. A spirit had blocked the doorway to the outside. It just was that what you saw that had.
Yes.
That the window was covered over. All of a sudden, went from being able to look out onto the carport, and then it was totally blacked out. And so the group decided we were going to start moving towards the door, and because that was the only way out at that point. So, and the furnace is sounding like it's going to explode. That was the 50-ton unit that had to be replaced and was going to be replaced the following Monday. And we got into the utility room, which is you come from the rec room through the utility room and then through the mud room and then out. And or if you turn left, you can go up the stairway. And we got there, and all of a sudden we got right in front of the pump room, which is right there at the utility room area, and the furnace stopped. All the noise stopped, and the next thing we hear on the obelisk is judge, master, resent, and Suzanne said, don't resent Wendy. She's trying to do good things with this place. And I said, no, I don't think. And then he said, poverty. And I said, and everybody's going, well, what kind of correlation is going on here? And I said, I think I know what this is. I said, I think the judge owned this place, the end of the Civil War, beginning of Reconstruction. And I said, the Union Congress, in punishing the South and admitting them back into the Union, took the white landowners' land away and doled it out to their former slaves. I said it was the reason behind the formation of the Ku Klux Klan. And as soon as I got that out, the next thing on the obelisk was news, like I'd hit the nail on the head. And then they started talking about metal, green.
Right.
And Suzanne said, well, isn't that furnace in there green? And I said, no, shine your flashlight over next to the furnace. I said, I think he's giving us a point of, where he wants us to look. Next to that was my dark green baker's rack. And they were all saying, you can't stay in this house yet. That furnace is dangerous.
Yes.
Yeah, they were warning
So that was where the judge. Now I remember. And Sylvia, you were there that night, and the story that she just told, that was in the main house. So we won't when we get to the main house, we won't tell that story again. But Sylvia, you were there. Jim was the three of us, and Kim, who left the team and started her own team. But Sylvia and Jim, how did you guys feel about what happened when we heard somebody come in upstairs, come down, started throwing stuff around in the room, and then when all of us kind of up to the door, all the noise stopped in that room, like it knew we were there, and that's when we started using the obelisk. Sylvia, how did that incident? You were there that night. Were you scared at all?
I was terrified.
I was too. And Jim, were you? Jim really, he's a skeptic, but that night,
that's the first
made
time.
a believer out of him.
Sleep.
First time I've seen him scared.
He was scared, and I tell you, I wasn't.
I was too.
And here we are, Kat. You missed it. That was so exciting because it's a 28-acre farm, and she wasn't living there full time at that time. Didn't have tenants at that time. It was just her on the property and the four of us coming to investigate. And we're down, and we'll get to that other. We'll save that other story first. Let's just say this: that was the second scary story. When we get to the main house, that was But we'd already been scared to death earlier, about 8 o'clock, 8 p.m., not 2 in the morning, 8 p.m.
It started right away.
Yes, and then we go downstairs, and we're all kind of trapped and have to go toward what we're hearing. So I mean, seriously, I was so scared because I thought it was somebody breaking in. I
Yeah.
thought we interrupted a
Yeah.
burglary,
Yeah.
and we were all goners.
Yeah.
So I wasn't as much scared about whether it was ghosts or not than it
Yeah,
was
we
real
thought,
people.
we thought it was
were
an intruder. We
Yeah,
thought
we
somebody
did thought it's like
broken and was
it
running
was like
across.
a stampede. Yeah.
Yeah.
Running across the
Right.
floor.
Yeah.
Night and clear as day, running down the stairs towards
Yeah.
us.
I'm writing a
Yeah.
book, and that's one of the stories in my
Cool.
book because it is one of the nights at
Mhm.
your house. Those 2 incidents. We'll bring that one later. Save it. Save it. Don't tell it yet. But when we get to the main house. But that's. I've had a few times where I
Yeah.
thought about quitting the paranormal, and that was one of them because that was like
That was
real fear.
that was
Yeah,
too
You
it
know,
was.
people
It
say
was.
there's a saying, I'm not afraid of ghosts, I'm afraid of people.
Yeah.
Ghosts don't scare me, people scare me.
Yeah.
That's how I felt that night.
Yeah.
So how many people do you think that might have been, or just one?
It
come
it
in?
sounded like it
It
was
sounded
one.
like one person
Yeah.
slammed
Just
the door.
like
We
boots
heard the
walking
front, we heard
above
the
us.
front, the screen door open,
Slammed
the
the
storm
door,
door
yeah.
open, and it slammed, and it had a device on it, that allowed it to close quietly.
Mhm.
It slammed shut,
Mhm.
and then we heard the footsteps come down the hall upstairs,
Yeah,
and
we're
then
down-
come down the stairs, and we're in the rec room where there's no windows,
No way out.
no way out.
and we're like,
We all
oh my
huddled,
goodness,
we all huddled
we
up.
huddled
Remember,
like
we
we're
huddled up.
gonna die.
We
We're
looked
gonna
at them,
die.
Yeah, they
And
all-
poor
they all
Jim
got
was the only
behind
guy.
me.
We put him in the
Yeah.
We're
We
like
were
all behind
pushing
Jim.
him
It
out
was so-
front.
Jim had to be
Five
the
of us-
man that
five
night.
of us huddled down the
Coach Bro.
It was.
Oh, it was scary, Wendy.
that
It was
was
scary. I
scary.
have to say, it was one
It was
one of the most, like I
It was.
said, she
And I
said,
missed
too,
it.
terrifying
That was terrible.
Yeah.
moments ever. I'll never forget that. And it takes a lot to move him.
Yeah.
I mean, move him like he's
He
scared.
jumped. He jumped too.
So
Yeah.
we're already about
We all
halfway
did.
through. So if we want, let's
Yeah.
let's talk about three of the buildings. Kind of,
Yeah.
we're already halfway through the program already. But
Mhm.
the pool house. We're going to put a picture of the pool house up,
Okay.
and what I think Mike will put it up there soon. And what
Okay.
kind of activity happens in there? I'm kind of
The-
starting with the least active to the
Yeah,
most active.
The first night that we had the investigation, when there were no tenants, we were just beginning to renovate that house,
There it is.
the pool house, what it appeared was that the orbs were following me around the property. That's about all we got that night. However, my tenants that are currently there, they're the mother and both of the daughters, the younger daughter more than the older daughter, are all very sensitive. The younger daughter is probably the most sensitive, and she's told me she sees shadows. She goes to bed every night downstairs with shadows in her room. She knows that they're there and they don't bother her.
Is this the girl that was there when we were there the last time?
Yeah, the young
I didn't
girl
want to say
that
her
came-
name if she didn't want her name said. Okay.
The mother hears music all the time. Different eras of music. Right now it's 1920s era music.
Wow. In the shower, I think I remember. Didn't she? Had something happen to her in the shower?
Yeah, yeah.
Saw something,
it's-
heard something?
Yeah, but most of what she hears is music, and music from all different eras. Well, that house was built in the 1980s, and it was a party house, and so a lot of the music that she heard in the beginning was from that era, and then she's had swing band music for a while, and now it's 1920s music and Civil War era music, and so.
It's
You know,
kind of,
because there's been a lot of activity on the property, period.
yeah, it's kind of, it's not too bad activity. Hearing the
Yeah.
music, it's kind of comforting to me, I would think.
Sometimes it freaks her out because she knows she's alone in the house
And you
she
hear-
doesn't have a radio on and she never would listen to that era of music.
Wow. So, okay, so it's not too bad
No,
over there.
uh-uh.
I knew we didn't.
Yeah.
We went
Yeah.
in for a few minutes
Yeah.
last time we were
Yeah.
there. How about the carriage house?
Carriage house, the woman who's in that house is extremely sensitive, and she actually sees them. The woods I had the property blessed by a minister before I spent the first night, because I never knew who I might end up in bed with in the morning.
Was this before we investigated or after?
This was after we
Okay. Yeah, you
investigated.
needed to.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I had the property, and that had been my plan all along, that I wanted the property blessed. I just had the feeling there were a lot of trapped souls on this property. So I had a minister, local minister, come. He said he would come and bless the property, and he asked me from what aspect I wanted the from what standpoint I wanted the wanted them to be blessed. Did I want them to be blessed and banished from the property? Did I want them to be able to cross over and come and go as they pleased? I said, as long as they're peaceful and friendly, I said, I have no problem with them, coming and going as they want to. They were been here long before I got here. And I said, this has been their property. And I said, as long as we can share it and live in harmony, I have no problem with them being here. So that's the standpoint that he used when he gave the blessings. And we went all over the property. He was there a couple hours, and we went down to the pond. And I had never seen this happen before. But when he was giving the blessing at the pond area, all of a sudden 5 huge bass came flying out of the water and jumping back in.
Oh, wow.
I haven't seen that since.
At the pond?
Yes.
Have you seen those bass, honey?
I've caught a
She's got-
few.
Yeah,
she's got
but
some
have you
good
seen
bass.
them actually jump? And I mean,
I've seen them right around the shore sometimes.
Yeah, these were out towards the island,
Mm-hmm.
and like 5 of them just jumped out of the water and back into the water. Never seen that happen before. And then he left, and everything was quiet. And then the very next night, in back of the carriage house, in the woods, right at the entrance to the woods, which is pretty much their backyard, the whole area, and my tenant has a picture of it, lit up like it was daylight, and you could clearly see spirits standing in a circle. They had their crossing over ceremony.
That was
Wow.
after the
that was the
priest
night
was there?
after the minister had been
was there.
And
I
she's
remember that. That
yeah,
was amazing.
she's got pictures to back that up, and she's often taken pictures and out towards the woods.
Mhm.
And we had one contemporary spirit that I think worked for the last owner, and I think he's on the property somewhere.
Wow.
And he would do things that weren't. He'd do really lewd things when she'd take a picture.
Oh.
And
I think did go to the
yeah.
bathroom?
yes,
Is that one
yes,
of them? I
that's
think
the
I
one.
remember that
God.
story.
Yeah. And then there's another one where a little girl, and sometimes with a little boy, sometimes with a man, shows up.
Mm.
And that may have been what we heard in the last investigation about
Oh.
the man
Mhm.
looking for the girl.
Oh, okay.
That'd be cool to see
Well,
those pictures.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
Before we move on to the barn, I just wanted to ask Sylvia, Kat, Jim, do you guys remember anything that stands out in the pool house or the carriage house? Oh, we didn't go in
We
the
didn't go
carriage
in the
house.
carriage
That-
house.
Carriage
No.
house.
The first time we did, though.
But I have to tell you
Before they
something
moved
when we
in.
get to the
Renovated.
barn.
Okay, so
Right.
you guys don't have then
No, I don't recall
anything you remember?
No, 'cause
Anything happening over there?
They were still renovating that.
We just saw a
Right.
flash over here.
Yeah.
Wow,
I did
Hold
too.
on.
Yeah.
Let's cut over to Jim. Just sorry, Wendy.
No problem. No
We're
problem.
waiting. We're hoping this place
Yeah,
is haunted.
yeah,
and we're hoping
yeah.
we get something. So what happened over there?
I just saw a flash out of the corner of my eye, and I looked over, and
Yeah, I saw that too, kind of corner.
yeah,
of my eye.
and Jazz saw it too, because she's like,
Her
"What the
eyes
heck
got
was that?"
big.
And where was it?
I thought
at?
it.
Like,
I thought it was
near the
Lucille, but
closet?
Lucille's gone. It's just like right out in this area right
Lucille,
here.
did you see it too?
No, I couldn't see
Oh
Lucille.
man. Oh no. Okay, well that's
It was
cool.
weird.
So spirits, if you are here, we welcome you to communicate with us, the nice spirits. Well, that's what we, and like I said, next week you can also come talk to us. We're gonna keep watching. So you guys caught that a flash of light across the ceiling. So that's exciting. We're starting to get some activity.
Yeah.
So we got to move on if we're going to get to the
Yeah.
main house. But right now, tell us about the barn.
The barn. The night that we had this last investigation, it was Halloween, and my tenant in the carriage house, who's very sensitive, said she really didn't want to be involved this time because she was afraid she might bring something in that might be negative, and she didn't want to have to deal with it. So she was in her house along with her housemate while we were getting started, and we started out in the barnyard, and we finally went into the barn, and I had told the spirits before that I never would try to exploit them, and I told them that tonight also, that I have the utmost respect for all of them, and but that there are lots of people who want to hear their stories, and that this is their chance to be heard. So I hoped that they would come out. Well, as we were coming from the barn after having had a very active session out there, she comes out of the house and she goes, "Are you people ever going to get there? They have been coming in and out all night saying, when are they coming? We've been waiting for them all night."
Coming in and out of the barn?
No, out of her house.
Out of her house, okay.
Yeah, saying we have a huge group in here and we're waiting for everybody. And are they ever going to get here? And we came out of the barn and said, yes, we were just there. And there was a big group.
Yeah, wow, goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah, she came out and said something, but there was so much going on that night.
Yeah, that was what she said. She said they just had been bothering her for the last 45 minutes.
So in the barn, I know we all were there, so speak up if anything happened to you. I know that I got a picture. Did you see the picture of the two of you? I put on Facebook.
Yeah.
He looks so cute. You got to look on your Facebook page sometime, Wendy. The two of you're both looking like the most serious ghost hunters, and Sylvia, you're like...
Well, the equipment was going off like crazy.
In the barn.
Yes, they were.
And somebody, I want to know, Kat, you said somebody was playing a trick on me in the barn that night. Somebody tapped me very hard on my shoulder.
No.
Did anybody do that?
No.
After we were in that first
Somebody
stall?
grabbed you, didn't they? Or
I don't remember that, but when I
your
when in the
hair.
when you came out of that first stall we were in,
Yeah,
I'm
your
standing
hair.
there, something tapped me very hard. It hurt.
Oh, wow.
Like tap.
Yeah.
And I turned around as I thought, y'all are playing it. Nobody was
wasn't us.
near me. Nobody could have even
Yeah.
done it.
Yeah.
You were all in front of me.
Yeah.
And it hurt. It actually hurt.
Yeah.
But in the barn, around the barn, the horses, are they aware? Do you think
they are. Yes, they are. Kisses wouldn't. My horse, for about a week and a half, was refusing to come out of her stall, and when she finally could coax her out of the stall, she would take a flying leap through the barn and try to get out the door without having to walk, which was very uncharacteristic of her. So my tenant, who was my barn manager, said, "Have you taken pictures out in the barn lately?" And I said, "No, I hadn't. I'd lost all my cameras, but I just found one." So I said, "I'll take pictures this afternoon and see if I see anything. And then when we go out to feed tonight, I'll go ahead and take pictures again in the same areas, from the same angles." So I did that. I didn't get anything out of the ordinary in the afternoon. And in the evening when we went back to feed, I took pictures again from the same angles. And one of the angles was right down the aisleway of the barn, from the stalls that run from the feed room down to where her stall is, and the entrance to the garage. So when I did that, I didn't think I got anything, but when I blew the picture up, I had profiles, one of which turned out to be the judge, and the other one was either an overseer or a smaller man, but they both took up the whole wall. But it was clearly two men, and she took a look at it. My tenant took a look at it, and she said, "Oh my God, I know that profile. I know that profile. Where have I seen that profile? Where have I seen that beard?" She goes, "I know now." I had never told her anything about our first investigation. She knew nothing about the judge. She said, "That's the portrait of the judge that hangs over the courtroom in Warrenton."
Oh, yeah.
I said, "You're right, it is." I said, "Fancy." I said, "It's interesting that you should mention judge." And then I told her the story. And she said, "And the man who's standing next to him doesn't want to look at us. Like he is, he witnessed something that he didn't agree with, but he couldn't do anything about." And then I told her about this dream I'd had shortly after I had started staying overnight at the property. I had a dream that involved field slave women, and hadn't told anybody about the dream. I've never dreamt about field slaves. I've never dreamt I had anything like this. All these women were in the field and came in from the fields, and their husbands came in from the fields. And the one woman's husband in this dream was very outspoken amongst the slaves and been told to watch his mouth and to watch his step by not only the other men slaves but also the overseer and the master and such. And in this dream, everybody came in, all the men came in except for her husband that day. So the other females said that they would go back out and help her look for him. And the end of the dream was they came upon his belongings.
Mm.
I thought it was a dream, and I thought at that point that the slaves were trying to tell me just how bad their life had been under slavery, that he wasn't a particularly good owner. So anyway, a picture I took the very next night, the judge was still in his place. Kisses was still refusing to come out of her stall. And my tenant said he wants us to forgive him for what he did. And I said, well, we can't do that. And I said, I'll talk to him. So, because he was there for several nights, he kept showing up. So finally I said, because the one night there was a pink string that ran through the barn in my pictures. And I said, oh, look, a pink string. She goes, that's not a pink string, that's blood. And I think that dream you had, he was beaten to death on this property and by that judge. And he wants forgiveness from us. And I said, so I finally said, I'm sorry, Judge, but we can't forgive you. We weren't there. You have to go to those who you did this to and ask for forgiveness from them. You're going to have to ask the slaves for forgiveness. Well, then it was shortly thereafter. That was in September. That was the end of September. And Jim's picture was taken in October. He'd never been in the barn since that night.
Okay.
And I said, now he's out in the woods wandering.
Yeah. Well, that is a cool story, but we are running out of time. We're going to have to move to the main house,
Sure,
so we're
no
not going to
problem.
get the
main
really.
house is built on the original foundation.
Well, let's a couple stories we want to talk about because
Sure.
we're really
Sure.
going to run out of time.
Sure.
Let's talk about the night. Let's talk about that real quick. I got about three or four stories I want to talk about, and we only got about 10 minutes left.
That's all right.
So, Sylvia, since you were there that night, and you were there, and since Sylvia hasn't talked much tonight, Sylvia, can you recall, with Wendy's help and, Jim too, the night where we're sitting there and Kim got choked? And what happened? It started with you, really. When we were sitting in the living room.
Yeah.
You're trying to remember that night. We're sitting.
Right.
I can't believe
That
you
was
forget it.
investigation.
Right, we
sitting
were
in the
just
living room.
sitting in the living room, with the equipment on, and just trying to capture some activity. And I remember we were asking questions, basic, anybody here, so forth. And I remember feeling like this vibration, coming towards me.
Yeah.
And I just felt kind of hot, and it sounded like there was a speaker right next to me. And, I looked, and there was nothing there. And next thing you know, the girl next to me, she said that she felt somebody choking her around her neck. Do you remember?
Yeah, I do remember that.
And I think you had turned the lights on.
We were all in the dark.
Yeah.
Right.
And we had the ovilus on. And
You said
It
Africa.
said
was the
evil
first thing.
or demon.
what's that? Yeah.
Evil or
evil or
demon.
demon.
And it said
Yeah, there's
slave
the
a
main
couple
house.
Yeah.
times.
Yeah.
It said, so when we're looking and she's feeling burning or something,
Yeah.
and we said,
She couldn't
let's,
breathe.
we have that, by
yeah.
the way, before I forget, if you want to watch that incident, we have it on YouTube on my channel, which is Ghostland 111. It's all one word.
Okay.
So you can watch the whole thing that we're talking about that incident. But when we turned the light on, she had it looked like something had choked her.
Yeah.
Right.
And
She had
while
marks
we
on
were
her neck.
doing that,
Yeah.
demon came up on the
Ovilus.
ovilus.
Yep.
That's what scared us. That was prior to the stampede incident
Yeah.
that we talked about earlier. And also, you realized that your necklace, your
Yeah.
religious necklace, was
Right.
pulled from your neck.
I went to grab my my scapular and just looking at it, make sure it was
Yes.
still there. Thank God for protecting me. And I looked down and it was ripped. One end of the string had come completely out. So
Oh wow.
That
I
I'm
didn't know
thinking
about.
because I
Yeah.
had it on, it
Yeah.
didn't affect me, and it went to Kim next to me,
Yeah.
and
That's
it attacked
exactly
her,
it.
but it bypassed me because I had
And-
that religious.
And it didn't hurt. I mean, it didn't hurt her. She
No.
actually wanted
Yeah.
to come back. She
Yeah.
was like, yeah, let's go back.
Yeah.
But
She felt it.
to all of us,
Mhm.
it really scared us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It might
Except
not
that-
have been demon, but when
Yeah.
the word came, when you
Yeah.
hear all this stuff's happening, it's
Mhm.
trying to get to her, but it couldn't. So it
But
went
yeah.
to Kim. She had a cross on too, I
Yeah.
think.
And but
No.
but after
No?
Mm-mm,
after
I
we
did.
were all as we were standing there and looking at her neck and everything, the next thing on the obelisk was care. Like he was interested in the fact that we were all giving her care.
Yeah. So, and I know what was so funny is it wasn't funny to Wendy, but afterward, Wendy, you got to watch the video because she's like, shouldn't we have prayed before we started this? We're like, afterthought. Next time, Suzanne, she goes, next time, Suzanne, I was reading a book on ghost hunting for dummies. She's like, nicely put, Suzanne. It says, pray first. And I'm like, okay,
Right,
Wendy,
that's right.
okay. You know, but I you know, we all wear our crosses. If you don't, I mean, that night, no, the second time Kat went. So we wear our crosses and, you know.
And we did a prayer.
And we did a prayer afterward, yes, but now we do one before.
Yeah.
So that was one, and that was between that incident and the one we talked about earlier. Jim was really kind of troubled by that night.
Yeah.
I was troubled
He's
too.
one of the
Yes.
girls.
And
We all were.
we have a few more stories I want to make sure we
Yes.
get. I really want to talk about
My contractor coming in.
all the singing.
Yes.
Either I want to
the
talk
Elmo?
about this. We have
Elmo.
we have
Yeah,
10 minutes to
Elmo.
got 10 minutes to get through a bunch of
Okay,
stories. Just
okay.
so I want to talk about the singing in the living room,
Yep.
the portal,
We
Yep.
heard that.
and the laughing toy.
Okay.
So pick which ones you want, and you guys can join in. You know
Okay.
about this stuff too.
Let me. I think the portal. I'll say very quickly. The portal is down in the workshop. It was an addition to the house in 2007, and I think that area is the area they come in. Anytime I pick up a broom or anything or do anything that a slave would have done, there are orbs everywhere. I can be guaranteed of it. And
you just got a picture down there
Yeah.
near the portal today. You want to say Wednesday night, and it was the first
it was.
dog.
Oh yeah, it was my first dog, and it's clear. And
Ghost
they're
dog.
starting to. They're starting to have faces in the orbs because they're beginning to trust us and know that we're sincere. We're not out there to exploit them, and such.
And also rod shapes. You're getting these rod light forms
Yes.
too, anomalies.
Yes.
Not only the orbs, but
Right.
yeah, it's just getting more.
Yeah,
elaborate.
they're getting more active.
Wendy
and,
does welcome them, by the way. As
Yes.
long as they're good spirits, she wants to live on the property
right,
together, you
right.
know, and it was their
They're-
property, and
Yeah, they're
so that's
they're
her
welcome
mentality
there.
with.
Yeah,
They know they're welcome.
I remember that one incident you said, go away or something like that. You know,
Yeah,
you're not wanted
you're
here.
not
and-
you're not welcome here,
Yeah.
and negative entities aren't welcome here. Only
Yes.
those who walk in the white light of God.
Yeah, I
That
remember
that just reminded me of the second
Yes.
one where
Yeah.
you were in the
Oh.
living room,
Yeah.
with behind
Yeah.
me.
and will you tell that real
Yeah.
quick? And
What
what was happening on the
one
second?
of the other team members and I were sitting there with the temperature
Yes.
Yes.
and the K2s, and it was going crazy. And you guys were saying that there was something crawling behind me on the
Yeah.
camera.
Yeah, so we
and
still got to get
Yeah,
that
it was
to her.
apparently
Yeah.
there was
Her
something
crawlers.
that kept crawling around me, and the temperature gauges were going off. The
They were
K2
going 10
They
degrees.
down.
10
Well,
degrees
degrees
down.
right.
15 degrees
Right.
dropped.
Yeah.
Yeah,
from-
15 degree
right.
drop, and
Within
they
a
were
matter
everybody's
of
cold.
minutes. Yeah,
minutes.
in a matter of minutes, and
Yeah.
just spiking back up. And when you saw them on my right side, the temperature would go up on the other opposite side. So
Yeah.
the temperature coincided, and I didn't see anything, but we caught it.
Yeah, and that's the same room where we had the choking demon
Same
incident.
exact spot.
And it's the same room where we've heard the singing. I wanted you to tell me
Yeah.
about the singing real quick.
It sounds like, and I think she's my protector.
Fireflies. Yeah.
I think she was a house slave. She took care of the children. She was like a governess or nanny. I often hear her. I haven't heard her recently, but I think I saw her the other night down in the portal area in the workshop.
Picture you just
yeah.
showed me earlier.
Yeah.
Yes, it does look like a slave.
And quite often she's in the living room and she sings right around twilight time. She sings, and it's very nurturing. It's like she's rocking an infant to sleep.
And I can attest to that. The
we
first
heard
night
her.
we all
We
heard,
heard her humming
the
and
first
singing.
Yes.
investigation.
And I've heard her
And this
since.
leads
Yeah.
to the next story. She was, and I'm not going to tell the story because you're going to tell it. We were standing in her bedroom, and down the hall is this room where all the activity happens, and we all heard this woman
Yes,
like
singing.
rocking a baby, and it had like a tone, like a soulful tone to
Yeah,
it,
yeah,
and a very nurturing tone.
yeah.
Right.
But she's going to tell you about an incident in that room in her master bedroom. I guess it's
Yes,
called.
I'm a toy connoisseur, and I was bringing out things from the other house to the new house, and we weren't there on the weekends at that point. My contractor came back on a Saturday, because he needed a tool. And so he said, first of all, he opened up the front door and walked on down the hallway and didn't think anything of it. And I had brought out my talking Elmos. I had one from each one of the years that they first did the talking Elmos, the Tickle Me Elmos. And I had showed them to him, and then I'd put them in the master bedroom closet. And so he came, and Monday morning he says to me, "Did you play a trick on me?" And I said, "No, why?" He says, "I came out here on a Saturday, and you know we're not here usually on the weekends." He said, "But I needed a tool, so I came back." He goes, "And I came in the front door, and I shut the front door, and all of a sudden I hear from your bedroom, Elmo, ticklish in here." So he called my name, and, "Are you here?" And he says, "But you didn't answer." He goes, "I didn't see your car, but I have a ceramics business, and we work at the workshop, which is right near the farm, on Saturdays." So he figured somebody might have driven me over from the ceramic shop, and therefore my car wouldn't be there. So so then he thought, well, maybe I had set it up so that when he slammed the front door that it would knock it off its balance and would set it off. So I said, "No, I haven't touched them since I put them in the closet weeks ago." So he said, well, he said, "When I realized you weren't here and I looked in the closet and they hadn't been touched," he goes, he told me later that he just went on about what he was doing. He told some friends of ours later that made a believer out of him, and because he was a skeptic prior to that, and that he almost needed a change of clothing. And he ran out of there and didn't go back in.
Now, did you say that there were no batteries
And
in that
so
thing?
then I said,
Okay.
"Well, Clyde, I hate to I really hesitate to
I'm
tell
sorry,
you
I
this."
just did the punchline.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I said, "I hesitate to tell you this, but after I showed them to you," I said, "I put them in the master bedroom closet. I took the batteries out because I didn't know how long it was going to be before they'd be touched again."
Mm-hmm.
I said, "Not one of them has any batteries in them." He goes, "Oh, I wish you hadn't told me that."
Oh, and he's got to be there on the property a lot when he's by himself
Yeah,
and so
but
on, right?
he's still really spooked about that incident, even 3
Yeah.
years later.
Oh, I'm still spooked about the
Yeah.
incident.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we have just a couple minutes. Any of y'all? I mean, seriously, we just got a couple minutes, and we'll do announcements.
Sure.
So, any of y'all have questions?
Do you know any of the ghosts' name?
No, I haven't figured that out. We might have a Dan and a Lucy. We heard that the
Oh, yes.
first investigation on the obelisk, but I haven't had time. I haven't finished the move yet, and I haven't had time to go look at the records in Warrenton to see if I can get any more history. But the librarian at the Warrenton Library told me that there's lots of information about Hannibal and White Oak Plantation in the historical room, and they don't let it. You can't check it out. You have to go there and read it. So I just haven't had a chance to do that, but I'm looking forward to doing that.
Let me check with Jim to see if anything else has happened tonight, just to flash a light.
That's all.
Have you been, I mean, I didn't see it because I was looking over this way. The three of you saw it. There's no way we got it on camera, right? Maybe on security camera? I don't know.
I caught it kind of
You
corner
kind
of
of
my
saw
eye
it?
too.
Did you
Yeah.
see it?
I
I
didn't
was
see-
just
no,
looking
I
at
was
you
looking
talking.
at you.
Yeah, it was.
I
like
just heard
was-
something though.
So do you think it may have been you think it was something legitimate, or do you think, I mean, can you explain it?
No, I just
Yeah,
saw the
you can
flash
explain
go
it?
through the.
Oh. Is it paranormal? That's what I want to know. Or is it just...
Well, normally if you lose your first light,
Mm-hmm.
the chain of command says you lose them all. We've lost our first 4 lights. That's
Ah.
what happened.
Okay,
Oh,
so you
okay.
think it wasn't paranormal, it was just technical?
What I'm saying
Uh-huh.
I don't know.
You don't know.
is, we lit.
But
Oh,
that
we
sh-
shouldn't
that-
be lit at
that-
all.
That
Oh.
shouldn't be brighter.
Oh,
That should
okay.
be more
Any-
dark, right?
Any
Yeah.
activity on your K2? Because
Nothing on
we
the-
just got like a minute, and I
nothing
got to
on
do
the devices.
announcements.
No.
Nothing
Nothing
there?
here, no.
Okay, by the way, last week, the K2 that's sitting in front of Kat, after the show, it started going crazy. So we were hoping, and maybe after the show tonight, I mean, everything was cleared off the stage, and it started going crazy. So I guess then it looks like we have run out of time.
Okay.
You're going to have to come back and tell us more
Yeah.
stuff.
I'm sure there'll be
Um,
more.
And basically I'm going to do some announcements now. But thank you for coming, Wendy.
Thank you.
Thank you for telling us all these
Thank
stories, and I
you.
hope we can come back
Oh,
again.
you're welcome anytime.
Have us back.
Yeah, you
and,
bet.
we'll get that video to you, Jim. Jim, it's like, you know,
No,
I don't know.
know.
I'm telling you, I'm like,
It's
I know
16
I'm not tech savvy at all.
Yeah.
So anything that's done,
I know.
and so you got to look at Jim, give him a
But
nerdy
from the
look, like,
minute
"Eh."
we turned those monitors on in my house, they were active.
Oh yeah.
And he needs
Every
probably
time.
tomorrow he'll get them done. Tell him he can't hunt until he gets you those damn videos. The CDs, and then also the CDs that didn't work that we gave her. They didn't, there's some
Yeah,
kind of
maybe we
issue
can
there,
change
tech
the format
issue.
or something.
Yeah.
So thank you, Wendy. I'm going to make
Thank
some
you.
announcements now. Thank you,
Okay.
Kat, Sylvia, Wendy, Jim. Now I'm going to make some announcements real quick before
No
the end of
problem.
the show. So that was a great show. Like I said, we are so lucky to be able to go to Wendy's property, Dream Meadows. We've been there twice, and hopefully she'll have us back
You
again.
bet.
And maybe
You bet.
maybe Lucille is psychic, so we got to drag her
Ooh,
along.
I need you.
She was on the first show.
Okay.
And she's psychic, and she's very
I
skilled.
need
She's a
you.
witch too. So do you need her for that?
Yeah, actually, yes.
Okay. She's got a lot of skills. Electrician, da 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 da. You need her.
Okay,
Everybody
yeah.
needs Lucille. So anyway, we have we're going to be attending 3 events this year. We've been talking about them, and it's coming up. Gettysburg Paracon on April 14th through the 16th. Looks like we have like 12 days to go, and we're very excited. We're also going to Pennhurst Paracon in June, on June 4th and 5th. We are going to the Gettysburg Paranormal Gathering on July 30th. Now, we're excited to announce, we've kind of put it in stone now, that this next week will be our mid-season finale. It was going to be our finale, season 1 finale, but we're going to do 6 more episodes. However, next week's our mid-season finale, and we are going to be doing a really cool show, and I'll tell you in just a sec. And then we're going to go to the Gettysburg Paracon the April 14th and 16th that week, so we won't have a show. Coming back, we're going to be doing a show on haunted objects. I have a bunch of haunted objects. I've owned them. I still have some of them. Some of them I've sold. Some of them I've given away because I want to just take it. So if you have a haunted object and you're in the area and you want to come to we're in Manassas, Virginia. You got to come to the studio to be on the show. If you have an interesting story to tell, bring your object. I really want to see it. I don't want to just talk about it. Now, our show next week, we have been planning this, and we actually had another show that was planned. It got postponed. Our guests couldn't come, so we're going to talk about Ouija boards. We're going to talk about Ouija board experiences. I'm going to show you some of my Ouija boards. We're going to talk about the haunted stuff that goes on here, and then we're pulling out all stops. We are doing a live Ouija board session, seance, and we're going to have. I'm going to be the commentator. If they need me, I will also. I don't have a problem messing with Ouija boards. I really don't. So next week, it's going to be even more exciting. So make sure you tune in. So this has been our 5th episode. Next week is the mid-season finale with a live seance. So with that said, this has been the Evermore Paranormal Show. Peace out.